All right, let's go ahead and get started. It is 12:01. Let's flip the slideshow. So our mission, let me get my glasses here, guys. I apologize. Our mission and values, as you're aware, Keller Williams South Bay will become the #1 brokerage across all brands in the South Bay, a top-tier market center within the KWRI by attracting, creating, retaining cappers through our positive, productive culture. As a result, we will profit over $500,000 annually. KW South Bay values, #1 is caring to collaboration, and obviously #3 is the business building. So that's our model here at KW South Bay. Next slide, please. All right, happy work anniversary. Look at the list of agents, yay. Congratulations. Let me go through the list of agents here. Leanne, Champagne, Dale. As a matter of fact, Dale had surgery, so he shot me a text picture in the hospital. He's doing phenomenal. So if you know Dale, reach out, say hello, and he's doing good. He should be probably out today or tomorrow. John Brunetti also had surgery. Yesterday, he's doing phenomenal. I was surprised to see him this morning, but we are dealing with a little issue on one of his transactions. So again, John, reach out to him as well. Dan, Christy Carrillo, Jamie, Peace, Dee, Joe Yoder, Joseph Potts. I haven't seen Joseph in a while, so congratulations to Joe as well. And Danae, Eden, Juana, Suzanne, Jaytan, he, as a matter of fact, he won the Rookie of the Year last year, so congratulations to Jay on that as well. Sandy, Stephanie, and Michael. Congratulations to everyone on the list here. Awesome. Next slide, please. All right, congratulations to Mr. Stephen Rhyme for capping. Awesome, awesome. Again, reach out to him. Yay, congratulations, Stephen Rhyme. Capping, you know, he's a consistent closer and consistent capper, and it's super, super easy to do so if you stay consistent in your business. So congratulations, Stephen Rhyme. If he's on the call, if not, shoot out an email and congratulate him. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, congratulations to Leanne. I was actually having a conversation with her yesterday, as a matter of fact, and you know, super excited, you know, to align ourselves with her here at KW South Bay. But what a phenomenal accomplishment to have her cap as well. So Lillian, I apologize. Lillian, congratulations for capping. All right, congratulations to Julia and Bawalaka. Awesome. Good to see them to cap. So again, if you happen to come across them, reach out and congratulate them for capping. Awesome stuff. Next slide, please. All right, congratulations on our first listing, Lisa Scott. Awesome. You know, it's always fun and exciting, nerve-wracking when you get your first listing. Thank you, Danny. I just got a little extra light in here. So let's give Lisa Scott a big thumbs up on her first listing. Slide, please. Yeah, thank you, Rosie. Also, Joseph Ade, first closing. Let me just share a story, guys. Joseph just joined our office in June, and in June, he opened and closed his first transaction here at KW South Bay, and his transaction was $1.5+ million transaction. So good for Joseph. I was actually having a conversation with him, and he says, I'm also working on another buyer on a $1.2 million, I believe, was his transaction. So congratulations, Joseph, on your first closing. Next slide, please. All right, congratulations to Fred Howard for Growth Partnership. Phenomenal stuff. You know, in the KW system, it's phenomenal of the the growth opportunities that we have here by aligning ourselves with not just KW South Bay, but expansions with other market centers. So congratulations, Fred, for the growth partnership. Next slide, please. Awesome. Christy Yamamoto, Walsh, congratulations. I think they're on the call, so congratulations to you on the growth partnership as well. We're super happy. All right, let's talk about Mega Camp, guys. So this is the Mega Camp Digital Experience 2020. Save the date, guys, September 15th through the 17th. Register is open as of today, so go to megacamp.kw.com to register. I don't know what the cost is.
It's $109.
109. Okay.
If you're in Mastery, it's free as always.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Sonia. So there you go. Cheap. You don't even have to fly. You don't have to travel. In the comfort of your own house or here at the office on your computer. So awesome.
Yeah, and let me just say something. So I went on there this morning to register, and so they're offering a bundle of like really awesome KW t-shirts for $80 at the end of your transaction. It'll ask like, do you want to add 3 shirts, and then you pick your size. Or if you just simply go to pay for the 109, just so you know, it has the credit card section, right? You put your number in, and then it has the expiration date. And right below that, it says financial banking institute or a company billing name. And it says it auto-populates Keller Williams South Bay in there. That is for your security code on the back of your card. Otherwise, you can't register. So just FYI, the third line that doesn't make any sense, you just put your 3 or 4 letters number security code on that to be able to register for the class.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For Mega Camp. Awesome. Thank you, Sonia. All right, there you go. megacamp.kw.com to register, guys. All right, next slide, please. All right, Bowl Pivot is coming back. New dates, okay, August 4th through the 28th. It's going to be on Facebook group, open now. Coaching corners every Wednesday. $99 to register for KW agents and also non-KW agents. It's the summer edition, guys. So if you did not take advantage the first round, by all means, I was getting some phenomenal questions regarding Bowl Pivot. One was Maureen Lee. She loved it, you know, and she is taking advantage of Bowl 2, second edition of summer edition, I should say. So again, registration is open. It's August 4th through the 28th, okay? Awesome. Next slide, please. All right, how to generate passive income in any market. This afternoon after our sales meeting, I know there's a link to it. Myself and many will be conducting the lecture. Starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon. 2 o'clock, guys. Love to see you guys on it. Hear from both different perspectives and how you can generate passive income in any market, guys. Love to see you on that call today at 2 p.m. Next slide. All right, we have our calendar. Here's the calendar for the 2 weeks, okay? Tons of stuff. Sonia, you know, has classes on a daily basis. You know, there's links. We send you text messages, emails. They're there for your benefit. Take advantage of all the stuff. Every Wednesday, we had a phenomenal morning mastermind book club this morning at 9 o'clock, and it really, you know, defines and builds the collaboration of, you know, different opinions and how they see in perspective of all the chapters that we read. So, again, guys, it's open to all agents. Come and join us every Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. Sonia has classes. I know she has a morning, Miracle Morning Club that starts at 7 o'clock. I think it's 10, 15 minutes. Just, you know, really get the momentum going for your day. So calendar, if you don't have it, please reach out to us so we can send you out the weekly calendar. Next slide, please. All right, we have Chris Rivera with Len US on giving you guys update mortgage updates. So Chris, are you on the call?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy
Awesome.
sales meeting, July 15th. Tax day for everyone.
Tax day, exactly.
Hopefully you got those filed, or at least your extension like myself. And
So talk to us, Chris. What's going on in the mortgage world?
well, a lot of great things. Obviously, rates have continued to slide. You know, as I said about 4 or 5 months ago, before pre-pandemic, I thought rates would get down to 3 and below, and they have. We've got 30-year fix at 2.875. It's crazy. Cheap money. Jumbo's back. We're getting more non-QM players back. We're getting bank statement programs back. A lot of the non-QM lenders out there have resurfaces, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to give you just a rate update. You can get your clients in sub 3. If they've got good FICO scores, they can get 3% or below on a 30-year fix at no points for all transactions. Jumbo money is back. The banks are now starting to place those about 3.25 on a 30-year fix, depending on FICO score and LTV and stuff like that. But the money's so cheap. Anything out there that they buy is just going to be great terms for them to be able to have a low monthly payment. And I wanted to bring something to everyone's attention. It's just really the power of interest rates and how much more affordable homes are for them. So use this as a general rule of thumb. And I know a lot of you guys have been working with buyers for a while and already have them pre-approved or pre-qualified, and they know they're qualified for, let's say, 600,000, and they've got 5% down. Well, they got qualified maybe 6 months plus ago when interest rates were about 1% higher than they are now. And the power of that is their buying power just increased by 10% to keep the same monthly payment. So what that means is if they had a $600,000 purchase and they were putting, let's say, 10% down, which is 60 grand, they were going to have a loan amount of 540. Well, now all of a sudden you can do a sale price of 10% higher than 600. So 660 was still 10% down, and that would give them the same monthly payment. Now, why is that important to you? Because that just moved them across the street or the big street into a different neighborhood. So if you got your clients already pre-qualified a year ago, 6 months ago, do them a favor and get them re-qualified at today's interest rates and see what they qualify for, because you may be looking at something lower than what they actually truly qualify for. For just a 1% increase in rate, that's a 10% increase. I'm sorry, 1% decrease in rate, which happened, is a 10% increase in affordability. So that's information to get out to them. If you need a flyer, I do have flyers that I can customize for you guys as well. It's really easy to do. Just hit me up with an email or a text, and I'll have Andre get it out to you and put your name on it so it's customized for you guys so you can show them. Maybe something you want if you're gonna, well, no one's really doing any door knocking, but if you guys want to put it on your newsletters or any other publication, we'll have it for you. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is FHA loans and VA loans. We are now doing those down to 620 again. So we had stopped that a few months ago. We're back open and operational for all government loans down to 620. Of course, if you go below 680, there is a pricing differential, so they'll take a slightly higher interest rate, but at least we can get them into something with a low interest rate. And even if you took the highest FHA interest rate now, I think those are at like 3.625, which is incredible. That's the worst rate you can get on an FHA loan right now, and that's with someone who's got a 620 FICO score. That's insane. So it's just a great time to be a buyer for interest rates, because interest rates are incredibly low. We're at all-time historical lows. Don't see any end in sight for that. I think they're going to continue to slide. I wouldn't be surprised to quote out one day a 2.5% 30-year fix at no points. And that might be sooner than the end of the year. The feds have increased, or I should say, have continued to purchase mortgage-backed securities, and there's no end in sight for that to happen. As long as they're continuing to purchase mortgage-backed securities, we're going to see interest rates continue to slide or stay at these levels. There's nothing pressuring them to go higher. So we will see rates at sub 3 for the remainder of this year and well into 2021. So the rate environment is going to be there. It's a great opportunity for people to purchase and get a low monthly payment that they'll never, ever want to refinance off again. I also wanted to talk about the non-QM loans today. So non-QM players are coming back in. And people always ask me, what does that non-QM mean? Yeah. So QM stands for qualified mortgage. And basically that's your Fannie Freddie type of products. They're qualified mortgages that we can sell in the secondary market through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or Ginnie Mae, which is FHA and VA. So those are just all the standardized government regulated loans that we have to do, but they're under a QM basis. Well, non-QM came in once subprime left, and we had subprime early in 2000s, and I'm sure for the agents that were working prior to 2008, they remember subprime, all of the Alt-A loans that we did, which were the interest only and the stated income and that sort of thing. That was our subprime market. Well, when we got out of the 2008 crisis and all of a sudden, 2010 went into the Dodd-Frank bill, they gave us what was called a qualified mortgage. And the guidelines for us to be able to adhere to for that loan to be safe havened under a qualified mortgage so we could sell it on the secondary market. Well, there was a void missing, and it was really for the self-employed borrowers, the people who couldn't qualify under normal standards. And that's when the non-QM players came in and they started to do kind of the funky loans again for us. But they weren't the really bad funky loans where we had the stated income, no income, no asset loans. We're not doing those. We have to have some sort of documentation. So for the non-QM loans, what those are your bank statement loans or the one-year tax returns loans for someone who maybe had a really bad 2008 but has a better 2019 and you just want to show the last year of tax returns for them to qualify. There's a premium on the interest rates for those, but it allows those self-employed borrowers who might not otherwise be able to purchase, be able to qualify for a loan and hopefully resolve whatever issue they've got so they can come back and refinance into a more standardized financing down the line. Those non-QM players made up a really big chunk of our business, and we didn't realize how much in February, March until they exited. And all of a sudden, we didn't have them anymore because they were also buying good loans as well. Well, I'm happy to say we're starting to see them come back now. We worked with about 7 different equity wealth management companies throughout the United States that were our non-QM investors. We've already got 4 of them back. 2 more just rolled out on Monday. And we've got the bank statement programs back. We've got the one-year tax return programs back. What we're going to start to see is them pricing into our jumbo programs. And when that happens, we're going to see rates probably slide back down into sub 3 because they'll get aggressive because they realize that those are good loans to have on their books. They had it before. The reason why there was a disconnect in interest rates from conforming to jumbo, which happened in March and April, was because all the non-QM players left that space, and that forced the jumbo rates to skyrocket up into the high 3s because we were now forced to go to the big banks. Chase, Wells Fargo, B of A, which aren't priced very well right now. And so with these non-QM players, we're going to see better pricing in the jumbo land. And that's great for you guys because that's where we live. We live in a high cost area. And when you start talking about a sale price of $1 million, 20% down, that person's got an $800,000 loan. That's a jumbo loan. And they're looking at a rate that's probably in the mid to high 3s if they go to a big bank. These new non-QM players are back down to 3.25 on that transaction. And I anticipate those to go lower and get down to 3 and below. So it's back. So that's great news for all of us. And for you guys especially, I think I saw a blurb there saying, yes, we need to go out and get more listings. Absolutely, Bob. I think that was you who said that. Need to go out and get more listings because the buyer's there. There is a big demand out there. I know it because I'm getting a lot of pre-qual requests. There's a lot of buyers out there. Our offers are getting multiple offers. You guys know this because you're writing the offers. So there's a lot of demand. There's just not a lot of supply, but that's been the same adage for a year, 2, 3 years now. So just go out there and crank getting the listings because there's a lot of buyers out there, and we're going to keep rates low for them for the next year plus, so that demand will be there. So with that said, leading into the listings, we rolled something out, or tried to, back in March, and it got stopped right when COVID-19 hit. We had to stop the training for our bridge loan and enhancement loan. We stopped it, and then we saw it was a non-QM investor as well, and we saw them exit the market temporarily. Well, they're back. They came back on Monday. And what that means is we are now open for the enhancement loan, and the bridge loan is soon to follow. We anticipate that probably coming out in the next few weeks, the bridge loan. For you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, RPM, which is Lend US, is offering special perks to your sellers. Now, the first one is an enhancement loan. And what the enhancement loan does is allows your borrower to tap into their equity before they sell the property to do rehab to it, whatever they want. They could renovate the paint for exterior, carpets, windows, plumbing. Maybe it's a roof issue that they've got. Anything that's making their house substandard so they're not able to get top dollar at sale because it looks dilapidated or it's just not really pleasing or it needs to be fixed. They don't have to, but you know the properties that I'm talking about when you walk into them, that you guys want to fix it up to get it to market so they can get in that price range that they should sell their house at. Well, this enhancement loan allows them to get up to $50,000. It's almost free. We wanted to bring it out free, but we couldn't because we have to do a loan in the system, and the system wouldn't allow it to come in unless we had an interest rate on it. So the interest rate on this is 0.01%. Again, that's 0.01%, which is virtually free. I think it's dollars that they'll pay. And they have 6 months in which to sell their property. So they can enhance it, put it on the market, get it sold, and then we're paid off because there is a lien that's placed on the property and everybody's made whole at that point. But it's just another arrow in your quiver that you're able to go out there and say, hey, look, this is what we offer as a Keller Williams agent. You have to get trained. And our training on that is going to be in the first week of August. We don't have the actual date yet, but we're putting it on the calendar for August. We'll send out emails for everyone so that they can access the link to get into the training for it. But keep that on your calendar. This is something you're really going to want. That is the enhancement loan. And again, it's $50,000. There are parameters. You are the point of contact. That's the reason why you have to get trained, because you're going to be explaining the process and the terms to the client when you're at that listing appointment. And you can tell them other listing companies out there, other offices, they don't have it. They can't offer it to their clients. So it's just something that you have that some other agents out there will not have. The next thing that's going to be rolled out, and again, this is going to be in the next few weeks, and you're going to need to get trained for that too. So you're going to do the training for both. And that is our bridge loan. The bridge loan is going to help you with that borrower who's trying to do the move up, but doesn't want to sell their home first. They're sitting on a lot of equity, but the problem is they have to write their offer as contingent for them to sell, to get the equity out, for them to put as the down payment on the leg up. That's the problem you guys have right now, because you have buyers like that, or borrowers, but you can't put the cart before the horse. How do you access those funds? Trying to get an equity line of credit right now is no fun. They're taking 90 to 120 days on those equity lines, and they're not easy to get. So it's not really a viable option, and it might not even be enough for them to get to what they want. Well, our bridge loan, what it does is allows them to suck up to 80% loan to value, get cash in hand. The max loan they can get is $400,000, and they can use that for applying for their leg up on their purchase. The beauty is the investor will exclude their current mortgage in qualifying. And that's the biggest thing, is because we see other bridge loan companies that will do that, But the problem is us as lenders have to take both mortgages into consideration when we go to qualify you. And that's the problem, because we cannot qualify you based on 2 mortgages. You can qualify with the new mortgage, the purchase mortgage, but not with your current mortgage that you currently have. So that's the breakdown a lot of times when we see bridge loans. Well, this investor will exclude that bridge loan. So we can just do the purchase transaction and that's it, as long as you qualify for it. So that one's also going to be training 2 in the beginning of August. Again, put it on your calendars when you see the email. Make sure that you sign up for it, and at that point, we will get you into that training and you will be certified. So that's it for my market update for the week. If you guys want any of those interest rate reductions, the benefits of, please send us an email to me or Andre, and we'll make sure we get it out to you. I'll leave it open to questions later on. Simon, if you need me to answer any questions,
yeah, let's stand by on that, because we have more speakers to bring on the sales meeting. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate the update on the mortgage. Guys, if you have any questions, make sure to put them on the group chat, and then we'll address them later this afternoon of the finalizing the sales meeting, guys. All right, let's go on with the sales meeting. I believe that Sonia, our tech tip Wednesday on marketing. So Sonia, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good.
Awesome.
I'm here to bring value, and after I give you something, you guys are all gonna give me something. Deal?
Deal. Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just share my screen here. So a couple things. First of all, this is my tech tip. If you're not in this group, you're not helping yourself. You got to go on and join this group called Command Your Conversion. You'll see Gary on it, so that's how you'll know it's the right one. Command Your Conversion. So one of the cool things right now on Facebook is that they have things called units. Okay, this means that if you actually own a Facebook page or group, you can add things called units in these things. They're going to show up on the side just like you would find files. So if you, for instance, look at the files here in this particular group, look at this. There's all these things that you might need in your business. And so today's tech tip is on marketing, and I wanted to show you that if you just go into this, units are almost like lessons. You could actually put a whole like curriculum together for someone through the units here. So if we pop into the units in Command Your Conversion, look what they've done for you. Command your marketing in less than 3 minutes, smart video. Command in less than 3 minutes, landing page. Command in 3 minutes, single property website. These are tiny little tidbits of information, and there's a bunch of them. So next time you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't know what I should be working on, or what should I do? Go in here and check these things out. They are very cool, short and sweet little things that you can work on. How to do bulk email, what do you do with how do you brand the consumer app? You know, all this stuff is in here for you. I know that there's so much information out and nowadays, right? So we just want to make sure, my goal is to get you guys pointed in the right direction. And with Bold coming up, you guys know that Bold will heavily focus on contacts and database, as it always does. So we want to make sure that you have the other side of Command happening at the same time, which would be your marketing mainly. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm also going to put in the chat box here what should we call it? A link or a file that is a bunch of Facebook ads that have been created that have performed well. They're just literally samples of them. And then there are also some that say, don't do this, instead do this. And you can see why someone would click on the other one and not on the other one, right? So I will share that here in a second. In addition to this Facebook thing, so now I've given you a piece of information so you guys can help me out. So we have this amazing thing called the Vital Signs Report for the Market Center. And why I want to bring this in with the marketing section is you can see that we're being graded on how well do they think our market center is going to survive, basically. Okay, so I need all of yours help to get us up in these points. There's a total of 60 points available here, and we've got 13. This is being measured by these items here. Okay, so when we're looking at this, and by the way, you know, the productivity coaching program contributed 26% of all company dollar in the month of June. And those agents are doing this stuff and they're making money, right? So if you're not on board with these items, there is a reason these are on the vital signs reports for us, meaning these are the things that we're gonna need to do to survive, right? And compete, be competitive in the marketplace. So if you look at this, there's 3 things in here, okay, that are really important. Average number of opportunities in command. This is the pipeline for you. Average number of contacts in database per agent, and percent of agents using smart plans. So these 3 things, we know that bold is going to take care of a lot of the contacts here, right? Because if you're actually doing that, look, we're actually doing pretty well. So guys, do a little more. Put some more contacts in there so we can make a 5. This will be the easiest thing for us to do.
And just to add to that, Sonia, one of the components is really defining your position of loading these contacts into your database. You know, it's funny that you say this, because this is something I was going to share with our ALC tomorrow. But absolutely, what Sonia is really defining is really the agent performance. Getting more into production will definitely change the numbers here. And, you know, putting more, because it's all based on across all market centers, not just KW, but all market centers.
Yeah. And so these truly are the vital signs reports. So what it's saying that if you don't have contacts in your database, we don't know that you're going to make it. If you don't have opportunities in there, that's your pipeline. And if you're not using smart plans, you might be running ads even, but you might be just burning through leads, right? So I'm thinking, here's my plan. Everybody adds a little more contacts in. If you are a person who hasn't uploaded any contacts into Command, we have a free service that does that for you. All you have to do is get in contact with Natalie, and she will show you how to do that, okay? And put you in touch with the right people. So you don't have to hardly lift a finger. All right. And then also just in terms of opportunities. So anyone that's a lead should be an opportunity. You've got to mark them as cultivating them so that it actually, then you can keep moving them forward. So put, what are they going to do? And then even if they say, okay, 9 months from now, I might be starting to look to buy, then great. Put them as an opportunity, and in cultivate stage, that means that you get to move them forward. Because eventually when you open escrow on that person, you have to do that anyway. You're going to have to put them in an opportunity before you can even start a transaction. So you want to put these people, it doesn't mean they're necessarily hardcore buyers or sellers, but they're possibilities. So stick them in there. Basically anyone who's a lead is an opportunity until they tell you no. So just friends and family and things like that might not be an opportunity right away, your own personal sphere, but everything else should be an opportunity in there. And that way you can keep moving them forward, and you'll see how much money you've got pending in the air, which is really inspiring to say the least. Okay, and then for the smart plans, we are starting for the month of August. We're going to do Facebook Fridays. So every Friday we're going to be running Facebook ads together and showing you how to do them and showing you how you can follow up with those leads appropriately. And this is where the smart plans are really going to come in, because if you're generating 100 leads a week, you're going to need to have a smart plan in there that you can put people on. Now there's already like 12 smart plans in there automatically, but we've created several more, and a lot of those are also in that Command Your Conversion group. Okay, so action steps, go add yourself to that group if you haven't joined it yet. Check out the units on the left-hand side column, and then please, please, please enter some contacts, opportunities, and smart plans in for yourselves. This will set you up to bulletproof your business against all of this, what's happening now, because this isn't going to end anytime soon. So you're going to need to have this running on there so you can focus on the other things and building a virtual business, right? So that's my 2 tidbits here.
Awesome.
I'm going to put the Facebook examples into the chat box. So look for those.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sonia. Good stuff. I like the Facebook platform to really help you grow your command platform. So thank you again, Sonia, for your knowledge and expertise on that. All right, now to our guest speaker from the Broker Research Law Group, Marty. Marty, are you on the call? Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
I
talk
am.
to us in conjunction with the new release of these new forms, the batch of updated pandemic forms, since Governor Newsom. So, there's a lot of questions coming in from all angles on our agents asking what's going on, what do we need, what forms. So I said, we got to definitely bring our attorneys and speak. So thank you, Marty, for being on the call. So take it away.
Fantastic. Glad to be here. Natalie, can you make me a host quickly so I can share my screen? Fantastic. Here we go. Okay, so yes, it's been a big week, and in the aggregate, a big 2 weeks since July 2nd. So we're going to make sense out of the various changes that have happened at the state, county, and city level, and the batch of CAR forms that were released this past Monday to correspond with the new state law changes. So let's back up. 2 weeks ago, the Thursday evening before the July 4th holiday, the CDPH and Cal OSHA released an updated set of guidelines for the in-person showings. Now, as you all recall, we've had these state mandated showing requirements that overlay all counties. Counties going to have more restrictive sub requirements, but since early May, there have been certain protocols that the state of California requires us to follow for all showings. Social distancing, certain cleaning, face masks, and postings to remind showing visitors of the property not to touch anything. So right before the 4th of July weekend, the CDPH released some tweaks to that master plan. But they were significant enough that they required CAR to release a whole set of new documents. And then right as those documents were landing in zip form, we got the news, the press conference from Governor Newsom rolling back lots of the reopening permissions throughout the state, which in turn resulted in new safer at home orders that came down yesterday. So I'm gonna thread our way through all of that. Let's begin with July 2nd, the new CDPH guidelines. The good news is that there's not a lot of big changes here. One of them, so some interesting background on the one that we're going to keep coming back to today. There, as early as May, CDPH's guidelines said that if there's anything that's high touch, the real estate licensees are responsible for ensuring that it's wiped down both before and after each showing, and that there's a thorough cleaning of the property before and after each showing. Well, CAR went back to CDPH and said, can we, CDPR, which doesn't have an uninterrupted channel to the CDPH because it's a public health organization, so you get their ear whenever you can, try to get some clarity. Do you really want us to be doing a thorough cleaning? Do you want us sweeping and disturbing particles that might be on the floor? Is this really what you're envisioning? Can we have some clarity? Well, the July 2nd guidance seemed at first blush to be an offer of that clarity, but it doesn't give us a whole lot. Here's the new language. So yes, the CDPH does envision some sort of floor cleaning, and here are the two new sentences. Where possible, do not sweep. Do not clean floors by sweeping or other methods that can disperse pathogens into the air. But then the next sentence is, use a vacuum with a HEPA filter wherever possible. And again, our role here is to help draw your attention to the new language, not to pass judgment on whether this rule is scientifically supported, whether it's the best idea to be vacuuming, but this is the new rule. Here, if you want to see the actual page from the CDPH guidelines, it's here with an arrow drawn to it. There you see the use a vacuum with HEPA filter wherever possible in conducting your cleaning for shown properties both before and after the showings. By the way, Nicole is here today as well. She is monitoring the chat. If you have any quick questions that might be amenable to chat, just pop them in there and we'll try to address them. And then we can circle back at the end with anything that's still lingering. Okay, so the new CDPH guidelines came down. CAR immediately was already looking at some potential changes to its pandemic specific forms. This was a trigger that there absolutely had to be a new rollout. So Monday morning, we got the new rollout. Let's start with the PEADV, the PEADV. This is the form that is designed to be executed by all visitors. So at the beginning of the process, it's all prospective buyers and their agents. Later in the process, it is inspectors or other visitors. Visitors of all stripes. The gateway document that is to be signed is the PEADV. So here is the new PEADV. You'll see up top, it has a 7/13/20 revision date. That tells us that this is the Monday morning version. So one of the things to have in mind here is that in your role as either listing agent or showing agent, to be aware of what the date is at the top of the form, because listing agents, when they're receiving inquiries from cooperating brokers who wish to show the property and ask for the PEADs, listing agent is going to look to make sure that they've signed the July 13th version and not some other earlier version that they added to zip form at some earlier point and never bothered to update. And we'll talk through right now what the changes are that are why it's important for the listing agent to want the 7/13 version. But first of all, let's look at page 2. Page 2, you'll see is the signature line, person entering the property with checkboxes. In your early stage showings, if you've got 2 buyers and a buyer's agent, field 1, check the box buyer. Field 2, check the box buyer, print their names, sign them. Field 3, check the box broker/agent with their DRE number. And this is critical because we're going to come to the PEADV is the cooperating broker's confirmation that they will follow the elements of the showing protocols that are assigned to them by the BPPP. So if the listing agent gets back a form that just has the buyer signatures and doesn't have their agent signature, there's a major component that's missing and will require follow-up. Either sign the missing signature line or complete your own PEADV, Mr. or Ms. buyer agent. Okay, so the new PEADV deletes some language that appeared before July 13th, specifically references to disposable. There was a paragraph that said the listing agent shall make available at the property entrance a container for discarding disposable face coverings, gloves, and booties. That is no longer required by the CDPH. For the listing agent to bring a trash container and bag the trash after the showings, and in fact, gloves and booties are disfavored in the current environment. They're not required by the CDPH guidance. In the case of booties, brokerages throughout the state have reported slip and fall accidents as a result of people wearing booties and falling. And so the common wisdom among brokerages and the CDPH position is that booties create more of a safety issue than they ameliorate. So only where the seller is insistent on booties should the booty enter the picture. Bottom line, there's no longer a requirement for the listing agent to have to track the garbage. Okay, paragraph 6D of the PEADV is the magic language I talked about earlier. Signer agrees to the terms of the CAR document BPPP, which we're about to come to. Signer meaning either the buyers or their agent. Now, what is the BPPP? Hopefully we all are somewhat familiar with it, but let's go back. The California state guidelines say every brokerage has to adopt its prevention program. CAR rolled out a model version of this called the BPPP. 90+% of all of the realtor affiliated brokerages throughout the state have adopted the BPPP as modified. So when you print a PEADV, it will pre-check and print the BPPP. which has now been updated to reflect the new California requirements. So PV is the thing to get signed, BPPPP is the thing that is attached to it, and it is where the rules are embedded. This is the BPPP, the current version, 7/13/20, if you go to the top of your screen, the model prevention plan in use by 90% of the brokerages throughout the state. And you'll see at page 2, item number 1, really important language. So the agent who shows the property shall follow cleaning and disinfecting protocols and provide sanitation products unless otherwise agreed. And then the new language we've discussed today, where possible, do not clean floors by sweeping or other methods that can disperse pathogens into the air, use a vacuum with a HEPA filter wherever possible. Now let's look at that first sentence first. Okay, so the listing agent is ultimately responsible for ensuring that the sanitation protocols are complied with. But when the CDPH guidelines first came out, CAR, a large number of member brokerages and agents dealt with lockbox properties, where typically the listing agent in a non-pandemic market would not have been at the property at the time of the showing. CAR got the ear of the CDPH and said, can the listing agent contractually shift the cleaning requirement to the agent conducting the showing, particularly for these lockbox properties? CDPH said, we're fine with that. Listing agent, you're still ultimately responsible for ensuring that it happens, but you can create a BPPP that says any signing showing agent will actually do the cleaning and provide the products. So the wipes and the hand sanitation products. So the listing agent doesn't have to stock them at the property, particularly at lockbox properties where they can get, an experience showed, were nicked almost as quickly as they were placed on the property. Okay, so that is the new language for the BPPP. Let's back up. We see that there are 10 bullets on page 1. I'm going to go through all of the bullets so that we have a refresher of what the BPPP says has to happen during a showing. Okay. Rule number 1, virtual tours instead of in-person showings wherever possible, meaning that before the in-person showing is set, the prospective buyer must be provided with and have opportunity to access extensive digital marketing and informational virtual tour materials. Next bullet. Do not hold open houses or showings which are open to the general public on a walk-in basis. More on that later, because the open house concept is its own, worthy of its own slide issue of the day. But within the BPPA, it says don't hold open houses. You at most can have sequential appointments, one after another with time between them for cleaning, by appointment with the virtual tour, access before the appointment. Well, there's new language in the BPPP that tracks a clarification in the statewide order that reads, only one listing agent and one buying party are to be in a dwelling at the same time during a showing, but a buying party may be more than one individual buyer and may include one agent for that party. So the statewide rule, and we're going to just articulate it quickly and then move back because we are in LA County, which has a more restrictive rule. The statewide rule is you can have parties of larger than 3 individuals. You can have a buyer party that, for example, could have a couple and their 3-year-old and their buyer agent, with the listing agent showing the property for a total of 5 people moving through the property during that one showing. If you're in Orange County, that's how the rule works. If you're in Los Angeles County, you've got a more restrictive rule, which is 1 agent, 2 human being buyers in the buyer party, maximum the end. If you have more people who need access, you'll have to have more than 1 appointment. So the agent conducting the showing may be either the buyer's agent or the listing agent, but only 1 inside the dwelling at a time. That's the rule. City of LA and County of LA. So it's everywhere immediately around Torrance. You must show property with the occupants not present. So the seller or tenants are to leave. The buyer agent is to drive separately to showings and not have their buyer or tenant clients in the property. Once the showing is preparing to begin, the real estate licensees would remind everyone, maintain your distance 6 feet apart from each other throughout the showing, no touching of anything, and should run through a listing of things that are typically attractive to touch, such as knobs, faucets, garage door openers, door handles, etc. Speaking of door handles, the licensees should do a circuit of the property first to ensure that all doorways that would need to be opened are opened, so that nobody has to touch a doorknob. No buyer is tempted to touch a doorknob. And super critical, fresh outside air must be introduced during the showing. For those of us who've been following the reported science on relative hazardous settings, an interior space without ventilation carries its own additional hazard. The CDPH guidelines reflect that. They say get windows and doors open to provide air access before the showing begins. It does not matter if it's 102 degrees outside. Introducing fresh air trumps the discomfort of the heat. If there's information that is to be shared, it should be shared electronically with no paper handouts. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, page 2 of the BPPP does have pre-printed language that shifts the responsibility for cleaning and disinfecting before and after the showing to the buyer's agent. So if you, as a buyer's agent, today print out and sign a PV and send it to a listing agent, the BPPP that attaches to the PV states, I, buyer's agent, understand that I am responsible and will clean and disinfect the property before and after the showing. And the listing agent will expect you to discharge that duty. And I am aware of the new requirements that a vacuum with a HEPA filter should be used to clean floors. Okay, so when you're the listing agent, you're still ultimately responsible for ensuring that everything in the BPPP is followed. So you get the PV from a showing agent, and they just signed this thing that we describe, that I just described to you, where they affirm that they'll be doing the cleaning. Is it worth your time to have a double lockdown of their understanding, either through a phone call or an email, just confirming you understand you're responsible for the cleaning specified at the top of page 2 of the BPPP? Yes, it is, particularly since the forms have changed so dramatically recently. And you, the listing agent, will, again, as I mentioned earlier, in your paperwork quality control, always be looking at page 2, those signature lines, to ensure that you have the buyer's agent's signature. Because if they didn't sign it, they haven't undertaken the obligation to follow the BPPP and conduct anything like the cleaning and disinfection protocols. The next slide mentions, so 99% or 90+% of all brokerages have adopted the CAR form BPPP. You as a showing agent may encounter a listing agent who sends you over something that is titled something like brokerage prevention plan with their brokerage logo. Please review and sign this. This is a signal to you that that their brokerage has not adopted the BPPP, but has its own unique plan that may have some divergences from what we just described. So read it carefully. If you have questions, you can shoot them over either to your broker or team leader, or directly to BRLG. Shoot us an email saying, I got this from listing agent. Can you take a look at it and give us your thoughts on what it means and whether it diverges from the CAR form. Okay, That's the PV. CAR also used the opportunity of a forms rollout to tweak the language to the PED-S and the PED-LR. These are the shorter forms designed to be signed by the seller or other occupants. In the case of the LR, the landlord and the tenant occupants. Do a few things. So as we've covered in past versions of this presentation, one of the key items in all the PED forms is an assumption of risk paragraph right above the signature lines, where the person signing says, we're in a COVID environment and risk abounds whenever you have anybody entering anybody else's dwelling, and I, the signer, voluntarily agree to this event, participate willingly, and assume all risks from that event. So, in the existing PV for the last 5 weeks or so, there's been a paragraph that notes minor occupants, that if the buyer shows up with their child, that they sign on behalf of that child, that they will follow the rules, and that the adult signer assumes the risk on their behalf as well. The occupant versions of the PED didn't have that language, so CAR has added it this time around. So you now have, I'll put it up on the screen. You'll see paragraph 6, minor occupants. Adult signers acknowledge and agree that all signer acknowledgements and signer representations apply equally to any minors occupying the property as they do to signer. And then those individuals can be listed, typed in, or handwritten in at item 7. So if you're the listing agent and the sellers have children, one of the things for you to do is to get the version of the PED-S signed by them that signs on behalf of their children already. And even if, let's say on July 1st, you had a PED-S signed by your seller, it behooves you and it's worth your time to generate the new 713/20 version where they list their children. So hopefully that's all self-explanatory. The LR looks the same. In fact, there's the LR, and you'll see paragraph 6 and paragraph 7, same language. Almost done with the Monday forms dump. CAR also revised the form PRE. That's the pictogram posting available through zip form that the listing agent is responsible for ensuring gets posted at the property entrance before the showing begins. The pictogram has been cleaned up a little bit. There used to be a trash can pictogram, a trash can full of used masks and gloves. Those are no longer required, as we mentioned earlier. So that picture has been deleted, yielding this prettier, less cluttered PRE that zeroes everybody in on the key rules for the buyer to be reminded of, buyer or other visitor to be reminded of before entering the property. Don't forget, so you're the listing, whether you're the listing agent, you're the listing agent and you're giving instructions to your prospective buyers regarding what they need to return to you before the showing can get underway. Don't forget that CAR in the last week of June rolled out the new form PVOH. Let's put it on the screen. Property Visit and Open House Advisory. It advises buyers that they may be recorded, there may be cameras operating, they consent to it, they don't have an expectation of privacy. It also has a paragraph particularly addressed to trip hazards, and if the seller is insisting on booties as well, they acknowledge the risk of entry, they are advised to take responsibility for their children. And even though we live in an environment where open houses are not allowed, CAR envisioned that this form, the PVOH, will live for decades after the pandemic is over. And so it has the acronym PVOH and the title Open House Directory. That doesn't mean, the fact that there's a new CAR form that talks about open houses doesn't mean that the current prohibitions on open houses are in any way altered. Speaking of open houses, if you use signage to direct people to your listing that have the term open house, or if you have used that in your advertising, now is a time to mothball all of that. There's been a giant awakening of both at local realtor levels and now it sort of flowed upstream until CAR this past Monday, I believe, released a new bulletin on its car.org website. The address is at the bottom of your screen here. I'm going to put up a screenshot of the new CAR open house guidance. But the gist of it is, we've now been in an environment for over 2 months where nowhere in the state of California are traditional open houses allowed. At most, we can have serial appointments. One appointment followed by a break for cleaning and disinfection, followed by another serial appointments. Each of those people or parties has made the appointment in advance. Each of them has accessed the virtual tour materials in advance. Traditional open houses where people can walk in off the street and walk through the property just don't exist. In such a setting, the arguments that began appearing before realtor grievance committees is the use of the term open houses deceptive? Does it imply open houses have existed for decades and they imply an ability to just walk right in? Is this deceptive? And grievance committees throughout the state began to issue rulings that this is deceptive. The use of the term open house in an environment where open houses are not permissible, or just putting the sign out that says, head this way to the open house, whether you discover that it's not an open house, could expose the agent to an Article 12 ethics violation. Now, you may, if you've never been in the ethics hot seat, you may ask, well, what's the big deal out of being found guilty of Article 12? Well, the big deal, one of the big deals is that every ethics violator who has an adverse ruling at any of the local associations gets reported to CAR, and their case and mugshot go on the wall of shame on car.org of all ethics violators throughout the state of California, which can be used by their competitors starting the moment it goes up and continuing for the rest of your career to show, to make the suggestion, you can imagine in, let's say, a listing presentation, two individuals up for a listing and one has a mugshot on the CAR ethics wall. You can imagine what sort of conversation the competitor could have with the seller saying, oh, are you aware of this person's ethics challenges? So the bottom line here is, to the extent that you are having serial appointments on a Saturday, don't call them an open house and don't put out signs that say open house, because you are inviting risk exposure that's probably not worth it. Signage that doesn't use the term open house doesn't raise this issue, but it's those words that are being found by realtor organizations, grievance panels throughout the state to be deceptive, that create a hazard. And again, here I've had the CAR guidance on this that explains exactly this while I've been talking. With that, we are done with the materials that were on my agenda to cover for today. Other than a programming note, Simon put up the calendar of events for the next 2 weeks earlier in the sales meeting. And one of the items on there was the BRLG class tomorrow at 11 a.m. Contingencies removal and cancellation under the CAR purchase agreements. Just a note on what this is. So this ain't your typical purchase agreement class. We zero in on the provisions of the purchase agreement that relate to the topic here, but with the perspective of not just explaining to you what's in the purchase agreement, but recognizing that when each of you is sitting down with an unsophisticated buyer trying to explain the process and particularly the dangers of what can happen to their deposit upon contingency removal. How do you go about having that conversation? What tools does CAR have independent of the purchase agreement to help you have that conversation? How do you flow through the agreement to make sure that your buyer understands the process, both during the initial buyer consultation and then later as a contingency removal event gets close? What tools can you leave them with to assist them so that you are discharging your duty of being a competent broker who understands the contract without being someone who's practicing law without a license. So that's the class tomorrow. We see that there are about 20 people registered already. For those of you who think you'd like to join us, you can click on, we'll drop the registration link into chat so you can quickly register right now. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marty. Wow, that was a lot of information.
We got, I mean, this was a dump of information that we've gotten over the course of the last few days. Oh, so actually, I'm glad you, in thanking me and prompting that, one thing that I didn't underscore completely clearly, but I want to circle back to. We did have new, so the governor did a shutdown announcement and we got new safer at home orders for City of LA and County of LA yesterday. Yeah. They did not change the rules for real estate. So awesome. Everything is still exactly the same as it was a week ago.
Perfect.
Our industry.
Well, I want to say this presentation was phenomenal, and I got to shout out to Nicole for handling all the questions. I'm just seeing questions come in, and she's on it answering the questions. So thank you, Nicole, wherever you're at, for doing this, because it definitely helped to address and answer the questions. Phenomenal stuff, Marty. Thank you so much. Very excited. Looking forward to tomorrow as well. So make sure to register for tomorrow's I guess contract class that he's in, he'll be conducting tomorrow on Thursday. So, okay, I think that concludes. I know we have our last slide. So Natalie, I think it's our needs and wants. Let's see, Nat. All right, there you go. New listings, needs and wants, guys. So typically when we used to have our normal sales meetings, we would always share, you know, our new listings, any needs and wants. So this is a great opportunity, guys, to, you know, share if you guys haven't. Have any new listings that you guys like to pitch, unmute yourself and share your new listings.
Hello. Yeah, this is Rosie, and I have a duplex in Los Angeles, 2923 Southwestern. We lower the price. Was 65,000 above asking, so right now it's 8095 4 bedroom and 3 bathrooms. So let me know if you're interested. And I have a listing in Redondo Beach on 56 Way for 540, and I have a listing in San Pedro on 36th Street for 3200. So let me know if you're interested in any of them. Thanks.
Thank you, Rosie. Anyone else?
I do.
Hi, is that Maureen?
Yes.
Hey, awesome.
I'm trying to put it up on the.
I don't think you're going to be able to. Let's see. Maybe now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a new listing in Hollywood Riviera. I just put the Matterport 3D on the notes there. It's completely brand new inside, 4 bedroom with an office and 2 great rooms, over 3,000 square feet, ocean view. It's right on the border of you know, PV Belmonte area. It backs up to the bridle path. So it's going to be on the broker's virtual tour on Fridays. So, but here you can take the 3D walkthrough. It's listed for 2.575. So hopefully somebody in this office could sell that for me. It'd be lovely.
Can we advertise it for you, Maureen?
You can, I've been advertising it, but you guys all can. I give you all permission to blow it out. Bring me the buyer. Woo, 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 woo. I have, my client is, you know, obviously they have plans for the exterior. The exterior, it looks the same. The, you know, the curb appeal is the challenge I'm having. She has plans for the exterior, and she's got a bid for like $80,000 to completely redo the exterior to match the interior. So if you look at that link, you'll see that it's pretty amazing. So anyway,
Beautiful.
so you all have permission to advertise and bring the buyer. That'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Maureen. All right. Anyone else before we go to our affiliates, guys? I know we're past our time and I apologize, but thank you so much for being on the call.
I don't know if Patricia is in there, but Patricia just got a duplex in Los Angeles.
I know. Congratulations,
Yes,
Patricia.
on West Street. So I just wanted, I think it's A95, but I'm not so sure if she just left. So I just wanted to, somebody wants to call her.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rosie. All right. Anyone else?
This is Fred.
Hi, Fred.
I have I'm looking for up to 1.3 for 2, 3, or 4 units. The rents just have to be just right, but they will pay the seller's closing costs. They've been looking a while, so it's in the South Bay, Los Angeles area, if you all have any listings available like that.
Beautiful.
Mid-City is something that you're interested in, Mid-City, your client?
In this, yes.
Okay, I will call you then.
Okay, thank you, Rosa.
Awesome, Fred. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right, affiliates, you've got 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Let's go with Ray.
Caught me off guard there. Thank you, Simon. Since I have 5 seconds, all I have to say is since I'm on this meeting, I survived my skydive. So if you guys
That's right.
Yay.
So it was an amazing experience.
This is not the ghost of Ray, right?
No, this is really Ray. I'm just wearing a white shirt. Okay, so
Awesome, Ray. You gotta show me the video, my man. Awesome. All right, we got Wendy with Snap and HD. 5 seconds.
5 seconds, really quickly. Hi, how is everyone doing? Happy Wednesday. Just really quickly want to remind you, Snap is here to help you in all your NHD transactions that you guys need. And also, I host a class every Monday at 10 a.m. Just better helping you guys going through this, how to generate business and so forth. So look out for that. Check out my Facebook page at Wendy NHD. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Wendy, that was more than 5 seconds. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
All right. Mindy, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
Thank you for including me. Mindy with my
Absolutely.
HD, Natural Hazard Disclosures. And we're the very first top drop-down box on your Sierra Zip forms in partnership with them for over 10 years. No issues on our reports for 26 years. So we're here to keep you safe and protected. Good job, Marty. That was an excellent presentation.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thank
Mindy.
you. Thank you.
All right. We have Pam. Pam, good afternoon. It looks like you're in the vehicle.
I
5
know
seconds.
I am
How are
today.
you?
Haven't been out for a while. We're still not allowed out, but got out today for a little sunshine, needed a little break. But
Beautiful.
happy to join you. So glad to see you guys. And tomorrow, Long Beach Broker Preview, in case you want to join us, the CEO of CRMLS, Art Carter, is going to be talking about new registered listings and coming soon. So I put that in the chat. So if you'd like to join us, that would be awesome. And I do have a tax class coming up August 3rd. It's Monday morning. We would love to have you join us and meet our guru of taxes. Anything you need to know. So I'll be talking with you guys more about it. But thanks for letting me share that with you.
Awesome, Pam. All right. Thank you. Joanne, how are you?
Hey, it's Joanne in Orange Coast Title. Real quickly, South Bay Association of Realtors has a virtual caravan every Friday. Maureen, it's a great place to put your listing with your pictures. Do you have to just contact them by Thursdays? So any of you put your listing, South Bay Association of Realtors, either contact me or contact Nikki at the board. And lastly, Wendy Holt, your classes on Mondays are great. So thanks for including me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Joanne. All right. Nicole Romero.
Hello, Nicole Romero with Pacific Coast Title. Thank you to those who are showing up. We have a Title Tuesday each Tuesday, 1 o'clock p.m. I look forward to seeing you all there, and look out for the information weekly. It's sent to Holland and strained out to you all. Thank you. Great info.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Any other affiliate that I'm missing? Going once. Scanning through the list here. Going twice. I think that's everyone. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our sales meeting. Thank you so much. I hope we were able to provide you with some valuable information from our attorneys. Again, at 2 o'clock, we have our next training. Tomorrow, the attorneys will be having another class. So looking forward to seeing you all. All right. Have a safe afternoon, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
And 3 p.m. Wealthy Wednesday. 3 p.m. Wealthy Wednesday.
There we go. 3 p.m. with Sonia. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Simon.